Coach Jamila, and I'm a transformation life coach serving highly successful women entrepreneurs and executives who struggle with a pattern of toxic relationships with men, negative self-talk, self-doubt, and a lack of confidence. And really, these struggles are a secret because to onlookers, my clients look like they have it all together. But today we're talking about one of those secret struggles, and that is mommy issues. Excuse me. And specifically, when mommy had other priorities, namely her boyfriends or her husbands, okay? So clearly, and especially for those of you who are mothers, you understand that bond that is created when you're pregnant and you're carrying your child. And then when you have that child and you're nursing them, you're taking care of them, you cannot, you eat, sleep, and breathe this child. You would not allow anyone else to touch them, to care for them, any of that. You feel so bonded and connected to them. And when you have that experience, it opened up a wound for you because now you really could no longer wrap your head around how your mother could not have looked at you like you were the sun and the moon and the stars. You cannot wrap your mind around how she could view some outside man as more of a priority to her than you, her child, or that these outside men were somehow going to be a source of joy or happiness to her more than what putting her time and energy and effort into her children was going to bring her. You can't wrap your mind around that because now you're a mother and you know how you feel about your kids, and now that disconnect between you and her is even further. But see, here's the thing. What happens is, because our mothers are our female example, we absolutely have a higher expectation from what we expected to get or receive from them. And let me be clear. Many women are raised by single mothers who do work hard and sacrifice. But let me just let you know that you acknowledging the truth of your experience as a child does not diminish or lessen the sacrifices and hard work she did and made for you and any siblings. In fact, that is a non-issue. What we are talking about is the little 3 or 4 version of you who felt abandoned, neglected, unseen, unheard, and unimportant, okay? So your adult logic that, oh, she did the best she could with what she had, that adult logic does not apply, again, to the 3 or 4-year-old version of you who is still hurt. That version of you is still hurt. And that's the little girl that we have to give a voice to so that she can heal and you can become whole, okay? Because what happens when your mother makes something other than you her priority? As a child, what you begin to say to yourself is that you don't matter, that you're not important. Either you slip into the role of becoming the kind of pseudo mother in caring for your siblings, and then you're really putting your needs to the side and you're not really focusing on what you want or what you need. And then you kind of maybe even grow up and find yourself having a lot of children and you're kind of taking care of kids. That seems to be your life. But again, still not really being clear on who you really are and what you really, really want because you were never given that opportunity. Something else that can come out of that situation is if you were made to feel like your very presence was a burden, like you were a burden to her, like you were holding her back financially, you were holding her back from her relationships, you were holding her back from her dreams, then you really begin to shrink down as a child and make yourself invisible. And how that shows up in adulthood is that you're the one that's always interested in trying to make sure everybody else is happy. As long as everybody else is happy, you're okay. You're fine. Don't worry about you. I can make myself happy. You ever heard yourself say that? I can figure it out. No. What that is, what you're really saying is, Everybody else can be happy and get what they want, and I will take the leftovers because I don't want to ask for what I really want, because I don't know what it is anyway, and two, I don't want to be a burden. I don't want to be a burden like I was to my mother. Okay? See, we often talk about daddy issues a lot, but the fact of the matter is, mommy issues can go one of two ways. Sometimes she can get a free pass because we're like, well, she was a single mother and she, worked hard, whatever. And then other times we have a little bit more of a towards her. And that's because as women, our mothers were our living example of what a woman is. And so she did bear a greater responsibility because that's whose example we were watching to determine who and how we were to become. And here's the thing. If your mother makes you feel like a burden, if your mother is not open and warm and fuzzy with your emotions, if you can't be vulnerable with the woman who carried you in her body for 9 months, my goodness, who in the world could you ever be vulnerable with? There's so much there. A lot of pain, a lot of hurt, perhaps some rejection, perhaps some abandonment. Because our connection with our mother is the first bonded connection we have with another human being. It is like the single most important relationship we have, the first 5 years of our life. And so if that relationship is not solid, bonded, then we're going to struggle. And in fact, it can lay the groundwork for us to grow up and be wide open for relationship dysfunction and toxicity all the livelong day. Because then we're going to find ourselves taking what we can get, not asking for what we really want. Because again, we don't know, because we've been putting our needs to the side for so long that we're so out of touch with really who we are and what we need and what we want, that we just don't know even where to begin to unravel that ball of yarn, okay? So when I'm working with my clients one-on-one, we always start with that parental relationship, both parents, mom and dad. And sometimes there were other individuals that raised my client, and so we include them as well, whoever was in that role and the original biological parents, because they all matter whether they were in your life or not. Their absence or their presence affected you. And so we always start there with dad, identifying, acknowledging, and releasing the hurt and emotions around that relationship, because that again created that concept of what father and men kind of look like for us in our adult life. But then we also focus on mom. We focus on that relationship too. And we acknowledge, heal, and release the hurt and pain around that relationship as well. Because those two pieces, we heal that, then we're able to become whole. That was our foundation. You can't start up here and be doing all this. There are women sometimes who want a good man, want to get married, want to have a great relationship, but they're focusing on dating tips and tricks and trying to make themselves look more attractive. And it's that's not your issue. You can be pretty all the live long day and get a man, but is it the man that is going to be, the one that you really want, the one that brings out the best in you, the one that possesses the qualities and characters that deep inside are what you really need in order to be happy? Not that you need a man to be happy. Don't try it. But if you are going to be with one, you do have needs that need to be filled in that relationship. And you can't show up with all this brokenness and emotional baggage and think that somebody else is going to deal with that. You have to clean it up first. Number one, because it's your responsibility. And number two, because it affects who you attract and draw to you. If you haven't figured out why you don't feel worthy and deserving, why you feel like a burden, if you haven't gotten that figured out and cleared up, then that's how you're going to be showing up in the world and magnetizing and drawing men to you that are just what you can get. where you don't have to expect much, where the bar isn't going to be that high. A project you're trying to fix turn into something else rather than showing up as the best version of yourself, healed and whole, and drawing that to you, okay? So whether your goal is to be in a new relationship or just to feel better about yourself, feeling better about yourself is step one, okay? So like I said, that's why we start here when I'm working one-on-one with my clients in my 3-month premium unlimited coaching program. Now, I'm curious to know if any of this landed or resonated with you. So depending on which platform you're watching this on, please comment below if you feel comfortable and share with me any mommy issues that you found yourself struggling with, or if anything in this video resonated with you. And if you would prefer to talk privately, you can send me a DM on Instagram at Coach Jamila LV. I'll put the details in the description box for this video. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe and like this video. If you're watching on Instagram or Facebook, please follow, like, comment. And on any platform, feel free to share this video with any friend that you think really could benefit from this information. See, I'm all about creating that awareness of what's going on inside so that we're actually fixing the problem and not wasting time on symptoms, right? For example, if you have a broken leg, well, you're not going to be able to walk. And so what we're not going to do is spend a bunch of time figuring out all devices to help you get around while pretending like that leg needs to be set, it needs to have a cast, because that's the problem. You taking Motrin and using a walker isn't going to solve the problem. You're just dealing with symptoms. And in fact, if you don't fix the problem, that leg is going to get worse. The same is true with these struggles and emotional wounds that we are carrying from childhood. That's why we're still in our late 30s and 40s and beyond, still struggling with these issues, because we have not taken the time to focus on ourselves and do the work that, by the way, is not as hard as you think it is and does not have to take as long as you think it does. Like I said, I deal with all these issues with my clients in 3 months in my one-on-one premium unlimited coaching program. So I want to thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you here. Take care.